These are the lunar events for August 2022. August is going to be I would think, maybe it would be possibly a middle of the road month because we're just coming off of this big, huge triple conjunction between Mars, Uranus, and the North Node. And I have a whole video on that. I'm not going to repeat the details of that video because I sort of went through that whole kit and caboodle. I'm going to move on. And the conjunction is really a point for us to accelerate into the future and move on at rocket speed over, really not getting so caught up in other people's values that don't serve us. And also really tapping into nature around us as well. The birds, trees, flowers, etc. Everything in our own backyard. Not necessarily getting so absorbed into a place so foreign, even though it's beautiful, but it's really what is in the physical reality here and now. And so we had that happen, huge. And now it's time for August astrology, which really officially begins on August 1st. However, the conjunction's still happening. It's the time of the fair. I know I'm filming this video on the 31st of July, the day of the Great Conjunction, and I know later today I'm going to be going to the fair, the county fair here in my local town, and it's at the heart of the summer. It's right when, everything is just sort of in full spring. Is when the men from the Midwest are sort of saddling up their horses, and let's hope they don't get too drunk on alcohol. Those kind of American, especially, Midwestern memories, and also, Canada as well. I was watching Anne Shirley, Anne with a Knee on Netflix, and they had a fair in Canada where Anne of Green Gables takes place. And so at a fair, there's, of course, livestock. There's people probably doing use to show off their produce from what they've grown. And it's just this place of abundance, basically. And Leo is the sign of showing off. And really, this is what I have. This is what I've worked hard for. And I don't want to just keep it away in a little treasure chest hidden from view. No, I didn't put in all this hard work and time for me not to have something to show for it. And so here is my opportunity, I said, twice. That is the fair. And, they also have shows at the fair. Very talented drummers that I was listening to the other day. And that's another thing with Leo, is that it's very dramatic, and it can be very big and loud. And with the fun of that, I thought, well, it just makes sense. Maybe especially with the moon in Leo or the moon in Sagittarius, because that sun in Leo, moon in Sag is, of course, a definite party combo. But so anyway, getting into August 2022, I'm not going to go through every little day of the month and where the moon is, what sign it's in, and what aspects and conversations that it's making to all the other, planets and, the Sun, Chiron, Lilith, the asteroid Sirius, Pallas, Athena, Juno, Vesta, the North Node, all of those things. And another thing just to point out, I was just coming. So, anyone to August 2022, numerology 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. We're entering a 5 months. So, it's again this big and loud theme with just, go out and travel and, put on a party with, the spotlight shining down, to have like a dance. Anything very Leonine, and Leo is the 5th sign of the zodiac. So it is very fitting, I would say. Very, very fitting. So beginning on August 5th, 2022, we have the first of the 2 trines, Moon trining Venus. And then we have another one on the 15th, only 10 days later. So, talking about the moon, the moon is our innermost nature. It's, having a long day at work. Maybe it was a rough day trying to deal with this negotiation or trying to, help this client, for instance, or just, going out and traveling Chicago. But then when we go into the hotel room, we experience our entire day, go back home, go to bed. That would be our moon sign. But it doesn't just have to be just the physical, bricks and mortar type of house. It can also be just feeling secure in your own self, having a very healthy sense of self-love and real, self-trust as well. It's masculine, but it is where we can drop into beyond all the stuff that we're doing in the daytime, beyond all the action. The moon is really home. The moon is home. And the thing too is that we begin our lives with water. Don't take my word for this. I was listening to the astrologer and psychotherapist Deborah Silverman, and she was talking about the life stages of the elements. So when we're born, for the first, 7, 9 years, 14 years, something around there, we begin in the water element, very, very close to our, living in our parents' house, of course, very close to any, sort of, don't take my word for this too, but past life experience, and and just because water is emotion, and water is quiet. And it's that kind of stage. And so, the other thing too that she mentioned is if you were to have, if you were to go to a party, so you start off coming into the party at water, you sort of get little, she was describing getting like little hors d'oeuvres, sort of being quiet, like, I don't know who's going to be here. I'm not feeling the most sure about what I should do. Who should I talk to? That kind of feeling. And then it lightens up, and then it gets to the more social air element when you start meeting people, and then you, with Earth, what are we eating? What's the plans? Where should we sit? All those types of things to add that in there. And then after the meals, after eating, comes the dance, and comes the, karaoke, and music and songs and than that is fire, because it's, again, loud and you want to get up on your feet and have fun, kind of thing. So I thought that I would just mention that. But so, and when it comes to trines too, because we're talking about the moon trining Venus, and I'll get into the signs later. But so yeah, and the thing is too, I don't want to overwhelm you with, I'm shooting out these little aspects for my mouth. No, I don't want to, again, I want to keep it simple because less is more. Not so overwhelming, not so many things you need to remember, apply, etc. Just enough, good amount. So yeah, as long as it's interesting, as long as it, and as long as it's not like the same old every time. So trines, with the moon trining Venus. Trines, if you think about a triangle, and trines have to do with one planet or another. It's really, you think of triangle, those 3 points, there's really three, planets and signs of a certain element. But, it doesn't have to be. It's just when one planet and another meet up and they are in signs of the same element, that is a trine, which is really, really beautiful. Like things flow. Things seem to just go well with the trine. And it is 120 degrees of a trine. So looking at Venus, Venus is the planet of your, your tastes and your preferences of, oh, I think that cabinet, I'm a fan of that, sort of wood oak cabinet. Or maybe, I'm not a fan of those shutters. I don't think that they pair well with this house that I want to invest my money in. Because there's another thing with Venus is money. Of the people in relationships that we are attracted to, who we bond with, and how we need to love and feel loved. House, let's try this new dish. So many different types of things like that. And not to, narrow-mindedly say, oh, this placement is that, oh, this placement is that, because really, really it can, things, it's not just one placement. It's not just the placement, the planet, and the sign. It's also the house and also the other aspects and planets and signs and houses in the rest of the chart too. So, yeah. So, loving, what we love, how we want to socialize linked to abundance, because when we feel abundant, when we feel like, oh, our life is really going well, and we feel in a more uplifted mood, and we feel like, oh, we want to, talk and, share and get into conversations and learn new things, and just there's this lucky energy, like things are going really, really well, and I am just, enjoying myself at this moment. So, what we're interested in talking about as well could be history or astrology or, or something else. What sort of turns us on intellectually linked to Mercury. However, still, because we can all find ourselves in conversations where we're like, no, I'm not a fan of that. Why, why, I don't know what to add as a contribution to that conversation. I have no interest in that. That kind of thing. But so the moon trining Venus, the big question for this, what are the possessions that you are emotionally pulled back to, drawn to? What objects make you feel most secure? It could be your bed to sit on. It could be pillows. It could be an oracle deck, or, a book that you really enjoy reading, all these types of things. But it is your emotional association to that of, oh, when I have this beautiful, let's say you're living with the plant, and I feel really, when I'm in the same room as this plant, it really, really grounds me. Or maybe a statue of the Buddha. Maybe that reminds me to find my center and to be at peace. Um, you know, just how do we want to sort of arrange our environment so that it is nourishing for us, especially because Venus is in Cancer, which I'll get to. So could be, Southern comfort. And this could also be food, like an emotional connection to food, like, biscuits and gravy, gumbo, um, because that Southern comfort food, rich and homey. Chicken pot pie, sort of, bridging, Midwestern and off of Louisiana cuisine, and, Southern comfort kind of thing. But you get the point. So even if you would feel down in the dumps during this trying, then, that's fine. What is, like, just, it can be simple, like going outside, sitting down in your backyard and just talking with, somebody, or getting out in nature, because Venus rules Taurus, and Taurus, is nature. So, yeah, what is there in this life that is beautiful, that you can spend time with an object or a person, um, and enjoy, no matter what your emotional, mental state would be, you know. So I just really wanted to express that. Things in your world that you want to feel secure in. How do you, what do you feel emotionally secure with? Maybe you're looking around in your room, and, and living room and kitchen, and sunroom, to see, oh, I'm looking at some things, and I'm thinking to myself, I don't really feel too secure with that. I don't want that. I don't need that. This takes up space. This, just looking at an orchid makes me feel so sad, because of someone that I knew loved orchids, and who sort of passed down the road of heaven, for instance. So, or it could just be, anything that just makes you feel FOMO, that you don't want to feel, guilt that you don't want to feel. For instance, during the pandemic, I had a bookshelf of so many books that I just looked at and felt so guilty for not finishing. And I just couldn't get those thoughts out of my mind, so I ended up covering the bookshelf. And then I ended up sort of cleaning out the bookshelf by giving those books away and having a clean slate, and, just feeling better because of it. It was just this impure feeling that I felt with things. And then the negatives to this is, the saying, a dog with a bone, about, holding on to this, if I'm eating ice cream, or if I'm eating, beignet or something like that, or, can be food, but also, these objects that we feel really emotionally secure, and we need them, and it gives us a sense of ease, a sense of comfort, but to the point where it does not hinder us on a flexible level of, oh, I have this and I don't want to give it up. Oh, I'm just comfortable with all these things around me, and I don't want to leave. Um, and I'm just, so that's what I would say. An overindulgence and stuff, not cutting it back, not balancing it out. And it's also linked to the Venus-Jupiter square that we had July 24th, 2022, with Venus is 11 values, and of course Jupiter is like all the, um, you know, all that's really, the feeling of joy. So it's just too much. Too much of one thing as a bad thing, cut it back. So on August 5th, we have the moon in Scorpio. And this can be a placement that can really, really, pull you down into a sort of red pit, into really dark waters. Um, and, another thing is that I noticed the last time the moon was in Scorpio, I wasn't too big of a fan of small talk. I would be, I was feeling kind of mentally and emotionally um, unavailable, like I wanted to go in, and I wasn't feeling the most sort of wanting to go beyond just the that kind of, nippy dippy kind of small talk. So that's what I found with the moon in Scorpio, and the sun was in Cancer. That's double water. So you know, so you can feel miserable, depressed, or you can really focus on a task and drive, sit in a car, go throughout the desert, and go to the oasis, knowing full well that you committed to your task and you were all in. And what are the results of that get to experience afterward? So, so it is square to the sun in Leo, which is being the center of your life. So Scorpio wants to cave in, Leo wants to come out and, and to, show yourself off. Like, look at me, look at how wonderful I am. And I'm also giving to you from my heart center because I care. Um, so, the square is, again, being the center of your life versus caving in. And there's fairly pure green kind of thing. Anything, occult topics and dark topics, tarot, divination, astrology, dark mystery shows. There's also a soul with Moon and Scorpio of looking through a dog's eyes, because it's all just, giving you the soul. True, authentic love without the psychological baggage, without the, wanting to sort of, put on another mask, put on another mask and sort of hide your true self. But with, a dog, it can be, really pure. And to retreat, definitely going on retreats, but just going inside your house and create a sanctuary there. And Venus in Cancer, again, playing into that theme of spending time with family, where love would become more private. We're not feeling the most sort of extroverted and highly intellectual, like Venus and Gemini. Um, but, again, what makes you feel emotionally secure? It's a wonderful time to, snuggle up with a loved one. And really, because Cancer is also a cardinal sign, it can really, really work hard to care for the family as well, because cardinal signs are get up and go, and they have the backbone and strength really to, initiate these tasks and need done. Like, oh, I have a house to take care of. I have, things, and this person needs this fixed. And of course, they can do it themselves, but, regardless. And then the Moon Venus trine on August 15th is with the Moon in Aries. And with the Moon in Aries, it can be, you know, edgy. There's an edginess and sort of going on out of order here. Edginess, impatience, a feeling of being aroused emotionally. Like if somebody is ticking you off with this thing over here, then you just want to react to it, and something just comes out. And so, can certainly create that, but can also be, the real, true instincts, if you can come out, the masculine instincts. And I have the energy to do it. And then Venus and Leo. Venus is actually going to enter Leo on August 11th at 0 degrees, which is sort of the transition or cusp between signs, like the sun changing from Aquarius to Pisces, for instance. That would be, a cusp where it's sort of in between, a real mix of the two signs, and of course that would be the cusp of sensitivity. And so Venus and Leo, what comes to mind for me is just any kind of crown or bracelet or jewelry, any kind of royal, being a king or queen, or any kind of lavish dress or something, just, whatever is sparkly, like a red cape and a red, walking out on a red carpet event. So it's very, Leo's very materialistic, has a really good sense of good taste, really what you want to, have on you, and, decorate yourself with, to make you shine and look really good. Did you notice my new earrings? Did you notice my, tuxedo that looks really good? Look at my car. Look at my gorgeous red car. I mean, all these types of things like that. It's very exciting for the Leo sign. All these things. As well, I was noticing an online headline for Venus and Leo, something along the lines of "The world is a stage." Indeed. Everything comes from the heart center. Like, I want to do this because I feel it in my heart. I feel the desire to be creative in this way, and I'm not going to limit myself and hold myself back, but really go for it. Don't feel like you have to, shy away, amp it up and give yourself permission to come out and show yourself. At the same token, balancing out, don't go over the top kind of thing. That I've been producing this video for a good amount of time now. This is actually going to be devoted to video. So, thanks for tuning in.